4 Ways to Destroy Spiritual Attacks. A Stoic Meditation. They told you to fear the dark, but the wise know the truth. The dark has no power of its own. It is only the absence of light, and fear only thrives in minds that have surrendered their reason. Epictetus once reminded his students that men are not disturbed by things, but by the views which they take of things. If so, then what is a so-called attack upon the spirit except a test of our judgments, a proving ground for the fortitude of our souls? The one who trembles before shadows is already half defeated. The one who resolves to stand like a pillar, unshaken by winds, compels even the shadows to retreat. We speak here not of physical warfare, nor of the clash of armies, but of the subtle incursions that press upon the soul, anxieties that rise unbidden, despair that clouds the mind, temptations that corrode integrity, sudden misfortunes that seem to conspire against us. The Stoics called such things externals, not within our control. Yet though they come from beyond, they pierce within, and if left unchecked, they gnaw at the roots of our being. To destroy these spiritual attacks is not to banish them from existence, for the universe permits no life without trial. Rather, to destroy them is to strip them of their power, to render them incapable of disturbing the ruling faculty, the seat of judgment that Marcus Aurelius called the citadel of the mind. The emperor himself, besieged by wars, betrayals, illness, in the constant weight of empire, reminded himself each dawn, "Today I shall meet with meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly men." This was not paranoia, but preparation. The one who anticipates the arrows of fortune does not flinch when they arrive. A spiritual attack, then, is the arrow. Philosophy is the shield. There are 4 shields, 4 ways by which the soul may not only endure, but prevail. The way of identification, the way of authority, the way of community, and the way of root removal. These are not external rituals, though ritual may assist them. They are disciplines of perception, reason, and will. To practice them is to fortify the soul until no enemy, visible or invisible, can breach its walls. On identification, naming the assault. The first weapon of defense is knowledge. For how shall a physician heal a sickness if he has not first diagnosed it? How shall a general defend his city if he knows not where the attack is mounted? Seneca wrote, "If a man does not know to which port he sails, no wind is favorable." Likewise, if you cannot discern what weighs upon your spirit, you cannot direct your strength. Consider the forms these assaults may take. Sometimes they arrive as thoughts, corrosive judgments whispered in the mind. You are unworthy. You are alone. All your striving is futile. Sometimes they appear as temptations, invitations to betray your principles for fleeting pleasure or gain. Sometimes they manifest as heaviness, a sudden weariness of soul, a dimming of hope, a choking of joy. And sometimes they hide behind events, the sudden loss of fortune, the betrayal of a friend, the breaking of health. The untrained mind attributes all to chance and flounders, but the philosopher trains himself to observe. He keeps a record, as Marcus Aurelius kept his meditations, not for others but for himself, a journal in which to trace the patterns of his inner life. For attacks are seldom random. They circle the same gates, probe the same weaknesses, return at the same hours. One man finds that despair comes upon him in solitude at night. Another discovers that envy corrodes him after visiting the marketplace. A third sees that anger ignites when he contemplates politics. These are not coincidences, but tracks of the enemy. Write, then, of your experiences. Each evening, set down in brief lines. What weighed upon me today? At what hour did weakness strike? What preceded it? What followed it? After 30 days, you will see a map emerge, and where there is a map, there can be strategy. The ancients trained by ascesis, exercises. This exercise of identification is no less rigorous. But beware, not every misfortune is a spiritual assault. Epictetus chided those who imagined demons in every inconvenience. He said, "When you are kissed, do not say you are being flattered. When you are greeted, do not say you are being honored. Judge what appears." The philosopher distinguishes natural causes from imagined forces. If your body is weary because you neglected sleep, do not name it an attack, but a consequence. If your mind is anxious because you consumed idle gossip, the cause is clear. Spiritual attacks are those afflictions whose intensity and recurrence exceed natural explanation, that strike at the soul's very harmony. These you must name. The act of naming is itself liberating. Marcus wrote, "Remove the opinion, say, 'It is nothing to me,' and you are safe." To call despair by its true name is to unmask it. To say this is not fate, but temptation, is to regain the vantage of reason. The enemy thrives in ambiguity. Clarity robs it of power. As a physician identifies disease, as a commander spies the foe's banner, so too must you identify each assault. And in doing so, you have its strength. 2. On authority, the sovereignty of the inner citadel. Once the assault is named, the next discipline is to assert authority. Not authority over the cosmos, which is not ours to command, but authority over the self, which is always within our dominion. Epictetus taught that while we cannot control external things, wealth, reputation, health, the actions of others, we can control our opinions, our impulses, our desires, and our aversions. Here lies authority. What is a spiritual attack if not an attempt to breach this authority? Fear demands that you surrender judgment to shadows. Anger demands that you yield reason to passion. Temptation bids you hand your sovereignty to appetite. To destroy the attack, you must reclaim the throne of the inner citadel, as Marcus called it. The mind is impregnable, he wrote, if it refuses to let in what is contrary to reason. This authority is exercised by speech, not the empty babble of the marketplace, but the firm inner logos that commands the soul. The Stoics believed in the power of reason expressed in words. Just as a general issues orders to his troops, so must you issue orders to your faculties. When fear whispers, you answer, "You are but an impression, not a truth." Be gone when despair encroaches, you declare, "You are a thought, not my essence." When temptation presses, you respond, "This may seem good, but reason declares it unworthy." Marcus practiced this continually. In his meditations, he rehearses conversations with himself. "Do not be anxious, for it is not fitting. If the gods exist, they will provide. If they do not, then all is atoms, and it is still senseless to grieve." These are not mere musings, but commands. The emperor instructing his own soul. Authority is not loudness, but clarity, not bluster, but conviction. Some may find it helpful to embody this authority in symbolic acts. Seneca spoke of praemeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils, imagining losses in advance so that their sting is blunted. You might rise each morning and speak aloud, "Today I shall meet hardship, but it cannot master me." You might inscribe a maxim upon your wall, "What is not in my control is nothing to me." You might pause each hour to breathe and remind yourself, "I am the master of my judgments." These rituals do not conjure authority. They reinforce it. Remember that authority is tested only in adversity. To claim sovereignty when the seas are calm is easy. To hold it when storms rage is true mastery. Marcus, beset by plague and betrayal, wrote, "A blazing fire makes flame and brightness out of everything thrown into it." Such is the image of authority. Whatever assault comes, it is fuel for the fire of reason. Thus the attack, far from destroying, becomes the means by which your strength is proved. Third, on community. The brotherhood of the rational. The third discipline is community. The Stoic is not a hermit. He is a citizen of the world. Marcus wrote, "What injures the hive injures the bee." To imagine that you can resist every assault alone is arrogance. Even Epictetus, who prized independence, advised his students to choose companions of virtue, for men are shaped by those with whom they walk. Spiritual attacks thrive in isolation. The mind left to itself magnifies fears, distorts judgments, and weakens resolve. But when shared, burdens diminish. Seneca wrote to Lucilius, "When a friend is with me, I am no longer alone, and I dare all things." So too must you cultivate companions who remind you of reason when you forget, who lend you their fire when yours flickers. Choose them wisely. Not every crowd is community. Many gatherings are hives of distraction, echo chambers of folly. Seek those who value integrity above gain, who can both comfort and admonish, who will hold you to your highest self. As Marcus said, associate with those who will make a better man of you. Establish regular counsel. Share your trials, not for pity, but for perspective. Often another eye sees what you are blind to. What you mistake for fate, a friend may reveal as habit. What you name an attack, a teacher may show as discipline. And in moments of true affliction, the voice of another can rouse courage. Do not neglect the wisdom of the ancients as companions. When alone, let the words of Epictetus, Seneca, Marcus, Musonius Rufus, and others speak to you. Read them daily as one would correspond with friends. For though they are long departed, their counsel endures. To open meditations is to sit with an emperor. To read the Enchiridion is to walk with a freed slave turned philosopher. These are companions as true as any living.